Grow your practice, grow your wealth, grow your impact. Find out how to spend less time in the dental chair and more time on the things you love.
Good afternoon, Eric Morin. I want to welcome you back to the Dental Wealth Podcast. I hope you've been listening. If you have, I hope you're getting some great information, some great content. This might be your first podcast you're listening to. If you are, I hope you enjoy it and hit subscribe. And I typically try to put one of these out pretty consistently. I've got a great message for you today. And what I really wanted to talk to you today about is this idea of releasing money, but in a way that's pretty easy to do, and it can make a significant impact in other people. And you'll believe it or not, it'll have an impact in the way you behave and the way you affect other people. Now, the thought process on this and kind of the idea is anyone who knows me or has been around me understands that I keep some cash on me. And one of the reasons I do that is I tend to tip people. And I tend to look for people who I feel have went above and beyond and done something that wasn't really needed to be done, or somebody who just needs it, right? I feel like could need it, or it could really make a difference in their life, or it maybe have a ripple effect and it might affect somebody else. I'll just share two stories, and really you probably need to know where this all started. It was back, I want to say about a decade ago. We went to a New Year's Eve dinner, and it was supposed to be a dinner. We got there at 7 o'clock at night. I was super excited because this is like my favorite steakhouse, and we get there at 7, and it's like 3 hours later. It's New Year's Eve, and nobody wants to get up. So long story short is we never get served, and we eventually leave hungry. And we're in the state of Georgia, so we do what all Georgia people do is when we're hungry and there's no one else open, we get a Waffle House. So we get a Waffle House, and this waitress comes up to us, and she's got the most amazing attitude. And here it is, New Year's Eve, and she tells us about taking care of her son and the importance to her of taking care of her family. And that here she is at Waffle House, and she wasn't complaining. She wasn't self-loathing. She was saying how amazing, what a great opportunity it was for her to be able to do this kind of work. And when we got done with our bill, we shared this amazing time with this lady. She just took some intentional time and shared her story with us, and I was thankful for that. And then, I think the grand total of our bill was $12, and we threw down $100. And I remember the power of that. In that moment, just thinking what this could do. We were going to spend it on a steak or whatnot. And what that would do for this person and how it would affect their life. And that inspired me to think, how could I continue to do those types of things? And I left there. And so I started a tradition that has been going on since that time. And the tradition is that I always carry some money in my wallet so that I can affect other people, have the ability to release cash and affect other people. So I'll tell you the most recent example of this coming up. And the most recent example is that I was coming back on a trip, and the trip was, I think I was flying back from a client's office, and it was around Thanksgiving time. And what I did was, those airport buses, have you ever been in an airport bus? The airport bus brings you, typically in Atlanta, we have a really large parking areas for cars. And so that airport bus pretty much brings you to the terminal, to your car. And you typically would tip this person about $2 to $5, depending on how many bags they grab of yours and whatnot. So I get to my car, roughly to my car, and I open my wallet, and the only thing I've got in my wallet is a $20 bill and a $100 bill. Now, even my scarcity mindset kicked in, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't really have but a 20 and a 100, and I don't really want to tip this guy, that much." For such a little thing. Now, I will tell you that's a mistake. And so I challenged myself at that moment. I kind of said, Eric, come on, release the money. It'll make you feel better. It'll make, just release it. If you're listening to this thinking to yourself, hey, Eric, that's too much, then you need to probably start thinking about your own frame of mind, which is kind of the idea of this podcast is that you need to change out of scarcity mindset and start thinking about more of an abundance mindset. And believe it or not, releasing that money will bring more money into your life. But on with the story. So I hand this guy a 20. We get off the bus and I hand him a $20 bill. And he stops and he looks at me and he says, "Sir, you have no idea what you just did." And I didn't, by the way. And he says, "The reason I've actually been working so many hours is I've been saving up enough money to buy the turkey that I wanted for my family. And we have a large family and I had to save the money for the Thanksgiving dinner. And this, what you just did, put us over the edge. And now I can go, when I get off work, and go buy my family that turkey." So I looked at him and I said, "If the $20 meant that much to you, here's $100 on top of it." It's small things that make dramatic impacts on people's life. One of the things that I will tell you to do, and I encourage anyone listening to this, is I would go get some cash. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I'd put it in your wallet and carry, just try that for a week, try that for 2 weeks. The power and the intentionality of being able to go impact people. I also did it recently. I was at an airport and the banana had $100 bill. Now that's not to be, I tend to, by the way, at the very beginning of the month, I grab a few $100 and I put it in my wallet. I like to have cash on me. So this had been the beginning of the month and I had a few $100 in my wallet. And sure enough, I walk up, I'm buying a banana and the grand total of my banana was 69 cents. I have a debit card and a $100 bill. And so I look at the young lady behind the counter. I said, "I've got a debit card and a $100 bill." Now I'm smart enough to know that if I give her the debit card, they don't really make any money off that banana. But I also don't want them to have to cash a $100 bill for 69 cents. So I said, "What would you prefer me do?" And she looked at me with the greatest smile and she said, "Sir, whatever would make you happy, I just want to make sure you're taken care of." So wow, what a powerful, right? I didn't expect to get that in the airport, right? Especially buying a banana. And so I told the young lady, I said, "Why don't you keep 20 of that?" And she like, you couldn't imagine what her face looked like, right? She was like, "Sir, are you serious?" And I was, remember how much she makes probably per hour? And I said, "Absolutely. You've absolutely made this a great experience for me. I'd like for you to keep it." Now, there's something I'm trying to do here. This scarcity mindset, when they study millionaires and billionaires, what they find is that the people that become billionaires, millionaires are people with abundance mindsets, people that understand, let it go. You need to invest, you need to release, you need to affect, you need to use your money to impact other people. I believe in impacting people. The more you give, the more you save. And that's a fact. And the more, you can study this over and over again. You've got to use your money to make an impact in this world. And I will tell you what a $20 bill can do to somebody and the effect that makes in their day, and then how they affect the next person and the next person and the next person. I'm telling you, it can make a difference with a $20 bill. Let it go. So I would encourage you as a daily habit to get mentally okay with this. If you want to create wealth in this world, don't bring out your tip calculator when it's time for the bill to come. What I'm telling you is take care of the people. I would actually encourage you to tip before your meal. If you want great service, to be honest with you, you probably tip before your meal comes. Now, if the first thing you say to yourself, "Well, I got to make sure I have good service first," you're missing the point. I was at Taco Mac recently, which is a restaurant here in the Georgia area. And there was one, as soon as we walked in the door, there was a softball team that went in. And I will tell you, this young man took care of us and the softball team like we were the only, they literally took care of our table like we were the only people in the restaurant. And yet there was a whole table there. And I pulled that money out and I put it down, and my son looks at me and he was like, "You're going to give him $100, aren't you, Dad?" I said, "Yep. I want him to know that I appreciate his hard work, and I want him to know that I appreciate him. I'm telling you, that's called generational impact. It's called generational impact, to teach the next generation that we take care of people who take care of us, that we work to impact people. So I would tell you, one of the small, easy ways people think when you start talking about impact, that it takes starting a foundation or a major charity or a major move. I'm telling you, it can start with a $20 bill. Hell, it can start with a $1 bill. We encourage people to give away 10% of what they bring in. And I'm telling you that I would start just taking a few, start at the beginning of the month. So here we are. I mean, depending on when you're listening to this, I would go grab a few $100 out of the ATM. And if you can't grab a few $100 out of the ATM, then we've probably got a different problem, right? We got to go back to work on the fundamentals. But I would tell you, as a general rule, I want you to try this when you listen this week. Try this. Take some money. It doesn't, whatever you got, maybe it's $10, maybe it's $20. Grab a few bills, put it in your wallet, and when you see someone who deserves it, I want you to tip them. I want you to release that money and watch what it does to your mental state. I'm telling you, when you free up that money, you will make more money. You will feel better. And that sounds like a crazy concept, but I'm just telling you, it's been studied over and over again. It's the law of abundance. And so, look, I want you to take this business. I want you to take this dental business, and I want you to impact as many people as possible. You want to create a thriving dental business. You want to create a tremendous amount of wealth. You start outward and not inward. When you do that, you'll see where the difference comes, and then you'll see true wealth. Guys, I want to thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed. Go out and take that tip and put it into use. If you like this, if you enjoyed it, hit subscribe. We'd love to have you updated every time we release a new podcast, and because we're going to keep releasing them. So do that. I'm going to bring on some great guests. We've got some great topics. Some will be business, some will be finance, some will be personal development, but it's all about creating a life of abundance and impact. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.